The mansion was silent. Sumin was fast asleep, tucked under her soft pink blankets, dreaming of sugar plums and magic Christmas mornings. Kazuya stood at the kitchen counter, trying to calm the storm in her chest. She had spent the entire day with Daehyun and Sumin, cooking, laughing, and feeling something she hadn't felt in years: warmth, belonging, and desire. Every time she glanced at Daehyun, she felt it. A pull so magnetic it made her knees weak. And she wasn't the only one feeling it. Daehyun leaned against the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, watching her quietly. The shadows cast by the chandelier made his features sharper, more dangerous. "You're quiet," he said softly, stepping closer. His voice had that low, smooth cadence that made her pulse race. "I didn't expect you to be so alive, so warm." Kazuya swallowed. Her heart was hammering. I try my best," she whispered, trying to sound calm. He shook his head slightly, dark eyes smoldering. "You don't try, you just are. And it's dangerous, dangerous." The word echoed in her mind, and she realized it described both him and herself. Being near him made her feel alive and terrified. Daehyun stepped closer. The air between them was electric. His presence was overwhelming, intoxicating, and undeniable. He reached out slowly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Kazuya felt a shiver run down her spine. "Daehyun?" she whispered, almost breathless. He didn't answer. Instead, he leaned closer, so close she could feel his warmth. The tension between them cracked like fire, raw and impossible to resist. Then, without warning, he pressed his lips to hers. Kazuya froze for a moment, stunned, confused, yet strangely exhilarated. The kiss was soft at first, testing, tasting, and then it deepened. Passion flared. Hunger ignited. It was a kiss that spoke of longing, of unspoken need, of two souls colliding in a moment that neither wanted to end. But the mansion had ears and eyes. From her armchair, Grandma Unji's sharp eyes watched every movement. Her lips curved into a malicious smile. "So, the ice cream girl thinks she can seduce my son," she muttered, fingers tapping the armrest. "This will not end well." Grandma Unji was already plotting how to intervene. She would let them continue just long enough to create a scandal, enough to use against Kazuya later. Meanwhile, the mansion creaked slightly, an unnoticed warning. Daehyun's hands slid down her back, pulling her closer. Kazuya's hands instinctively found his chest, feeling the strength beneath his tailored suit. "I can't stop thinking about you," he whispered against her lips, voice rough with desire. Kazuya's breath hitched. Neither can I," she admitted, words trembling from the tension in her chest. The world narrowed to just the two of them. The mansion, the cold winter air, the threats lurking outside, all vanished. They fell into the living room, still kissing, still burning with need. Every touch was electric. Every glance spoke volumes. Daehyun's hands roamed her body with careful fire, as if memorizing every inch, claiming her in the only way he knew how, through possession, protection, and desire. And then a faint sound. Grandma Unji, being ever the spy, had crept closer. A quiet gasp escaped her lips. Her eyes widened. "Oh, no, 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 no," she muttered, almost choking. Kazuya felt it. A prickle of awareness, but she didn't break away. Daehyun, noticing her pause, kissed her forehead softly. "It's just us," he murmured. "Nobody else matters." But Grandma Unji's mind raced. "I need to escalate," she whispered. She would bring Hannah back. She would make this night the beginning of chaos. Hours later, the storm had passed, but the mansion had changed. Kazuya and Daehyun lay side by side on the plush couch, bodies still close, breaths mingling. Sumin's peaceful breathing upstairs reminded them that there was a life to protect. But for this moment, they were untouchable. Daehyun brushed her hair from her face. "I can't. I've never wanted anyone like this before," he admitted, voice low, husky. You make me want to be different, better." Kazuya's heart swelled, a mixture of fear, excitement, and something far deeper. I've never felt like this either," she whispered. Her hand found his, fingers intertwining. For a brief, magical moment, nothing else existed. But just as their hearts began to sink, a new threat was brewing. Hannah had received a message from Grandma Unji, one that promised her everything she wanted. She smirked, packing a small bag. "Christmas isn't over yet," she murmured. "And this time, I'll get what's mine." Grandma Unji, watching from the shadows of the mansion, smiled faintly. "Let the games continue," she whispered. The night had been one of passion and connection, but it had also exposed vulnerabilities. Keziah and Daehyun had crossed a line they could not undo, and now, the enemy was at the gates. Keziah lay next to Daehyun, head on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. She felt safe, wanted, alive, but she also felt a flicker of fear, because she knew, deep down, that Hannah and Grandma Unji were not done. And in that moment, Daehyun whispered softly into her hair, "Whatever comes, I'll protect you. I swear it." Keziah closed her eyes, letting herself believe it, for now. But tomorrow, Christmas would not just be about joy. It would be about love, power, betrayal, and a battle for family. And the stakes had never been higher. The morning after their stolen night of passion, the mansion felt different. The cozy warmth of the previous day was gone, replaced by a cold, uneasy tension. Keziah woke early, still tangled in Daehyun's arms. Her heart was full, but the prickle at the back of her neck warned her. Something was coming. Sure enough, the sound of a sleek luxury car pulling into the driveway shattered the morning silence. Sumin's small voice rang out from upstairs. "Daddy! Someone's here again." Daehyun's jaw tightened. He lifted Keziah from the couch, pulling her close. "Stay here. Don't worry," he said, his voice low and dangerous. Keziah's heart hammered. She knew deep down who it was. The front door swung open, and there she was, Park Hannah. All elegance, confidence, and menace wrapped in designer clothes and a perfectly polished smile. Her eyes immediately found Keziah. "I came back," she said softly, like a serpent poised to strike. "And I'm not leaving without my daughter." Sumin's little feet hit the stairs. "No, you're not my mummy. Keziah is my Christmas mummy." Hannah's lips curled, but she didn't falter. "She may be here now, but that doesn't mean she belongs here," she said smoothly, glancing at Daehyun. "I know my rights. Sumin is my daughter, and I want her back." Daehyun's dark eyes glinted dangerously. "You've had your chance, Hannah," he said, voice low, lethal. "Step into my house again, and you'll regret it." Hannah tilted her head, not intimidated. "Oh, I'm counting on that." From the shadows, Grandma Unji's eyes sparkled. Her plan had finally come to fruition. She had orchestrated Hannah's return to test Keziah and destabilize the growing bond between her son and the ice cream vendor. Her voice cut through the room. "Daehyun, you always act like the perfect son, but maybe it's time to remember your responsibilities. Sumin deserves her real mother." Keziah's stomach churned. She wasn't afraid of Grandma Unji. She had already seen the woman's schemes. But the combination of Daehyun's cold demeanor, Hannah's calculating presence, and Grandma Unji's manipulation was overwhelming. Keziah squared her shoulders. "Sumin is happy. That's what matters," she said firmly. "I didn't replace anyone. I'm just here to care for her, to make her feel loved." Hannah laughed softly, a sound that grated on Keziah's nerves. "Care for her? You? A vendor from the street?" Daehyun's lips thinned. He stepped in front of Keziah like a shield. "Enough," he growled. "You've crossed a line, Hannah. Don't make me show you exactly what happens when you do." Hannah's smirk faltered. "You wouldn't," she whispered, her eyes narrowing. Daehyun didn't respond. He just closed the distance between them, exuding a quiet, lethal threat that made Keziah's pulse race. And in that moment, she realized something terrifying and exhilarating. This man would fight for her, for them, no matter what. Sumin ran up to Keziah, hugging her tightly. "You're not leaving me, right? You're my Christmas mummy forever." Keziah knelt down, holding the little girl close. "Of course, baby," she whispered. "No one can take you from me." Hannah's eyes darkened with envy. This isn't over, she hissed. Grandma Eun-ji, realizing her pawn wasn't enough, decided to escalate. She would create situations that forced Dae-hyun to question his feelings for Kazuya. As night fell, the mansion's lights glowed warmly against the cold winter sky. Kazuya had made a special dinner, trying to keep Christmas peaceful despite the tension. Dae-hyun watched her as she moved around the kitchen, the soft candlelight highlighting her curves, the gentle sway of her hips, the quiet confidence in her hands. His desire was overwhelming. He stepped closer, brushing her hair from her face. "You're incredible," he murmured. "More than I imagined." Kazuya felt her cheeks flush. I'm just trying to help," she whispered. He took her hand, pressing it to his chest. "No, you're more than help. You're everything I've been missing." The tension exploded. They kissed again, more urgent, more desperate. Every touch spoke of longing, of unspoken promises, of hunger that could no longer be ignored. Unbeknownst to them, Grandma Eun-ji watched silently from the staircase, her eyes dark with scheming. She pulled out her phone and typed rapidly, "Hannah, tonight is the night. Make your move. He'll be vulnerable." Her plan was cruel but precise. Intervene at the peak of Dae-hyun and Kazuya's vulnerability, drive a wedge between them, and reclaim control. Kazuya and Dae-hyun, lost in their moment, had no idea the storm was already upon them. Hours later, they sat side by side on the couch, bodies close, hearts racing. Kazuya rested her head on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. "I never thought I'd feel this safe," she whispered, "and wanted." Dae-hyun pressed a kiss to her hair. "You deserve to feel loved," he said softly, "and I'll make sure of it." But the mansion's shadows were restless. Hannah and Grandma Eun-ji's schemes were brewing, and Kazuya knew, somewhere deep down, that Christmas would not end quietly. The seeds of chaos were planted. The battle for love, loyalty, and family had just begun. The mansion was silent, bathed in soft golden light from the Christmas tree in the living room. Sumin was asleep in her room, dreams filled with snow and magic. Kazuya had tidied up the dinner remnants and was about to pour herself a cup of tea when a soft creak made her freeze. Her heart skipped a beat. "Not again," she whispered to herself. Dae-hyun appeared behind her, eyes dark, sensing the shift in the air. "Stay close," he murmured, hand brushing against hers. Kazuya didn't need to ask. The mansion felt different at night, quieter, more vulnerable, and she already knew someone had come back. A shadow moved through the dimly lit hallway, sleek and deliberate. Hannah had slipped in while the household's attention was elsewhere, stealthy and calculating. Her heart raced with anticipation. She had been planning this moment for weeks, orchestrated by Grandma Eun-ji's whisperings. Tonight, she would reclaim what she believed was hers. She entered the kitchen, spotting Kazuya standing with Dae-hyun at the counter. "So, we meet again," she said softly, venom in her words. "I should have known you'd be waiting here alone." Kazuya's heart jumped, but she squared her shoulders. "What do you want, Hannah?" she asked calmly, fighting the tremor in her voice. Hannah smirked, stepping closer. "I want my daughter back, and I want you out of her life. Permanently." Dae-hyun didn't move immediately. He assessed Hannah, his expression darkening. Then, slowly, deliberately, he stepped forward. "You're in my house, Hannah," he said, voice low, lethal. "And you will not lay a finger on my family. Not tonight. Not ever." Hannah's smirk faltered, but she didn't back down. "I don't care what you say. Sumin is my daughter. You don't get to decide that." Dae-hyun's eyes narrowed. His calm demeanor shifted, revealing the Mafia man beneath the tailored suit. Dangerous, untouchable, a storm barely contained. "You forget yourself," he growled. The air seemed to vibrate. Around him, thick with tension and silent threat. "One more step, and I will personally make sure you regret it." Hannah hesitated. She knew the reputation of the man in front of her. Yet, arrogance and desperation kept her rooted. Kazuya stepped forward, placing a hand on Dae-hyun's chest. "I can handle her," she said firmly. "I won't let her scare me again." Dae-hyun's gaze softened slightly as it met hers. "No," he said, low and protective. You don't fight alone. Not here. Not with her. Hannah's eyes flickered with annoyance. She thinks she can intimidate me? Funny. But she's just a vendor. Keziah's smile was steady, unshaken. I may be a vendor, she said. But I love her. And that's stronger than anything you have. The words hit like a bullet, and for a moment Hannah faltered. But she recovered quickly, rage flickering in her eyes. From the top of the stairs, Sumin's small, determined voice rang out. Leave Mummy alone. She's my Christmas mummy. Hannah froze. Daehyun's jaw tightened. Keziah turned, heart swelling with warmth at the loyalty in the little girl's voice. I'm not going anywhere. Baby, Keziah whispered, holding Sumin close. I love you, and that won't change. Hannah's lips pressed into a thin line. This isn't over, she hissed, before storming out into the night, the wind carrying the faint sound of her frustrated footsteps. Once Hannah had gone, the mansion fell silent again. Keziah leaned against Daehyun, exhausted but relieved. He brushed a strand of hair from her face, eyes dark with desire and concern. You're incredible, he murmured. No one has ever faced me like that and stayed standing. Keziah smiled, breathless. I didn't face you, she said softly. I just stood for my daughter. His hands found hers, fingers entwining. And that's why I can't stay away from you, he whispered. You're everything I didn't know I was missing. The pull between them was magnetic, irresistible. And in the quiet of the night, under the soft glow of Christmas lights, they kissed, slow, heated, full of promise and lingering desire. Grandma Unji watched from the shadows, her eyes narrow, lips pressed into a thin line. So close, she muttered, almost in frustration. But it's not over. She'll fall. Everyone falls eventually. Her fingers tapped her phone. She already had a plan for tomorrow. Hannah would return, more calculated, more aggressive. And the storm would be worse than tonight. But for now, Daehyun and Keziah had a rare moment of peace. Daehyun pressed a gentle kiss to Keziah's forehead. No matter what happens, he said softly, I'll protect you and Sumin. Always. Keziah rested her head on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. I believe you, she whispered, closing her eyes. And for a moment they let themselves forget the threats, the chaos, the enemies outside. In that moment, there was only them, their warmth, their desire, and the growing love that neither wanted to deny. But they both knew. The night had only been the beginning. Hannah would return. Grandma Unji would strike. And Daehyun's world, dark, dangerous, and ruthless, would collide with Keziah's life in ways they couldn't yet imagine. The morning sun barely peeked over the horizon, but the mansion was already buzzing with tension. Keziah was in the kitchen, quietly preparing breakfast for Sumin and Daehyun. The little girl hummed happily, oblivious to the storm that was about to hit their lives. For the first time in days, Keziah felt content. Until the first honk shattered the morning calm. A convoy of sleek cars pulled into the driveway. Cameras clicked, reporters shouted, and the faint whir of drones filled the air. Keziah froze, hands gripping the counter. What is happening? She whispered. Sumin's eyes widened. Daddy, why are there so many people? Daehyun stepped in front of them, his dark eyes narrowing. The calm, composed aura he normally carried had shifted. Now it radiated danger and authority. From the front car, Hannah emerged, wearing designer clothes, her hair perfect, and a smug smile plastered across her face. But this time she wasn't alone. Cameras followed her every move, reporters clamoring for a statement. Daehyun, she called, voice sweet but sharp. I thought it was time the world saw the truth. My daughter, and you, deserve me. Grandma Unji, perched elegantly in the living room chair, suddenly stiffened. What is this? She stammered, eyes darting around at the media swarming the driveway. Her hands trembled as she gripped her pearls. A stranger, in my son's house. Making the media come? Her composure cracked completely, and for the first time, tears streamed down her cheeks. No, this can't happen. Not in my family. Not here. Not in my house. The staff scrambled, trying to control the chaos, but the cameras were relentless. Reporters were shouting questions, flashes going off every few seconds. Keziah instinctively pulled Sumin close, her heart racing. She had never been part of anything like this. The world watching, strangers pointing fingers, rumors flying. Daehyun's expression hardened. The calm, dangerous man Keziah had come to know was gone, replaced by the full force of a Mafia king protecting what's his. He stepped out onto the balcony, overlooking the chaos, and his deep voice cut through the noise. Enough! The reporters fell silent, sensing the threat in his tone. Even the cameraman paused. He scanned the crowd, eyes landing on Hannah. You have no right to always disrupt my family, Hannah. Leave now, or you'll face consequences you can't even imagine. Hannah smirked at first, but a flicker of unease crossed her face. She hadn't expected the public confrontation to meet such ferocity. Despite the fear, Keziah stepped forward, standing tall beside Daehyun. She's my daughter now too, she said, voice steady. Sumin is safe here, and I'm not going anywhere. Not you, not the media, not anyone. Her words cut through the tension like a knife. Daehyun glanced at her, admiration and desire flashing in his eyes. Exactly, he said. She belongs here. This is her home, and I'll protect her, and you, from anyone who thinks otherwise. Hannah, realizing that her media stunt wasn't working the way she'd planned, narrowed her eyes. This isn't over, she hissed, backing toward her convoy. You haven't seen the last of me. Back inside, Grandma Eunji sobbed quietly, curling into her chair. A stranger in my house, embarrassing my family, and my grandson protecting her. She felt powerless for once. The woman she had tried to control, manipulate, and use had stood firm, unshaken by cameras, fame, or money. Keziah approached cautiously, gently placing a hand on Eunji's shoulder. It's okay, ma'am, she said softly. I'm not here to hurt your family. I love Sumin. That's all. Eunji blinked through her tears, unsure how to react. Part of her hated Keziah, but another part couldn't deny the strength, warmth, and courage radiating from her. Hours later, the media had been sent packing, Hannah driven off in her convoy, and the mansion was quiet once more. Keziah, exhausted but resolute, found herself leaning against Daehyun in the living room. I can't believe all of this happened in one day, she whispered. Daehyun pressed a kiss to her temple, hand resting protectively on her waist. It's not over, he murmured. But nobody, can touch you or Sumin while I'm around. Keziah felt her chest swell with warmth. This was more than protection. This was love. Sumin appeared, rubbing her sleepy eyes, and ran into Keziah's arms. Mummy, I'm glad you're still my Christmas mummy, she whispered. Keziah hugged her tightly, feeling Daehyun's hand wrap around them both. Always, baby, she said softly. Always. Grandma Eunji wiped her tears, but her eyes were sharp. I am tired, she whispered to herself. She's a stranger in my house, and I can change it. Hannah, humiliated by the failed media stunt, was already plotting her next move. This isn't over, she murmured, tightening her fists. But for now, Keziah, Daehyun, and Sumin shared a rare moment of peace. A quiet Christmas night filled with love, warmth, and the promise of a family worth fighting for. The morning sun spilled golden light across the mansion, illuminating the Christmas decorations that glimmered softly against the winter sky. Snow drifted lazily outside, covering the driveway in a pristine white blanket. Inside, the air was filled with warmth, love, and a sense that something extraordinary was about to happen. Keziah stood by the grand window, watching Sumin play with a small Christmas ornament. Her heart felt full in a way she had never imagined. Loved, protected, and finally part of a family. Daehyun appeared behind her, dark eyes soft yet filled with that signature intensity. He took her hand in his, pressing a gentle kiss to her fingers. Good morning, beautiful, he murmured. I promised you the best Christmas, and I never break my promises. Keziah felt a flutter of excitement. She had survived chaos, drama, and threats, but now it felt like magic. As the family gathered in the living room, Daehyun took Kazaya's hands and dropped to one knee. Sumin gasped, eyes wide, and clutched Kazaya's arm. "Kazaya," he said, voice strong yet tender. "From the moment I met you, I knew my life would never be complete without you. You've shown love, strength, and courage beyond anything I could imagine. Will you marry me? And let me protect you and our family for the rest of our lives." Kazaya's eyes filled with tears. The entire room seemed to hold its breath. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes," she cried, throwing her arms around him. Sumin jumped in to hug both of them, squealing with joy. Grandma Eunji sat quietly nearby. Her usual pride softened into genuine emotion. For the first time, she allowed herself to cry tears of joy, realizing that Kazaya had truly become part of the family. You've brought happiness to my son and my granddaughter," she whispered. I was wrong to doubt you." Kazaya smiled warmly, walking over to take Eunji's hand. "Thank you, ma'am," she said softly. "All I ever wanted was to be part of their lives and make them happy." Eunji's lips quivered as she nodded, a rare smile breaking through. The ceremony was small, intimate, and breathtaking. The mansion glowed with soft fairy lights, candles, and the scent of pine and roses. Kazaya descended the grand staircase in a flowing ivory gown, her hair styled elegantly, her face radiant with love. Sumin ran ahead, scattering rose petals along the aisle. Daehyun waited at the altar, dressed in a tailored black suit, eyes full of desire, admiration, and devotion. When their eyes met, the rest of the world faded away. They exchanged vows filled with honesty, passion, and promises to protect and cherish each other. Sumin stood between them, giggling and whispering, "Mummy, Daddy, you're perfect together." And for the first time in years, the mansion was filled with laughter, warmth, and peace. After the vows, they celebrated with an intimate dinner. The family laughed, shared stories, and enjoyed the peace of the evening. Grandma Eunji even joined in the fun, helping Sumin with a small Christmas game and showing her affection. Daehyun pulled Kazaya aside, holding her close. "This is our beginning," he whispered. "No more chaos, no more threats. Just us, our family, and love." Kazaya rested her head on his chest, smiling. "It's perfect," she said. "Merry Christmas, Daehyun." Outside, snow continued to fall, blanketing the world in quiet magic. A promise of happiness, love, and a future together. The past chaos was gone. Hannah and her media stunts had failed. Grandma Eunji had accepted her. And the family, Daehyun, Kazaya, and Sumin, finally had their happily ever after. 2 months later, Kazaya stepped out onto the balcony, her wedding ring glimmering, her heart finally at peace. Sumin was laughing somewhere in the hallway, and the house, once cold, tense, and full of secrets, now felt like a real home. Today was important. It was the day of the final reconciliation meeting. Hannah arrived first, dressed simply, looking calmer than she had in years. She walked in slowly, almost nervously, her eyes dropping to the floor before meeting Daehyun's. Kazaya offered her a small, warm smile, and to everyone's surprise, Hannah smiled back. They sat together in the living room, the same place where arguments, jealousy, and tears had once happened. But today the air felt lighter. With a shaky breath, Hannah began. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I wasn't a good mother. Not because I didn't love Sumin, but because I wasn't ready. I let fear and jealousy swallow me." Seeing how happy she was with Kazaya, it hurt, but now I understand. I just want to be better. Sumin walked over, hugged her mother's arm, and whispered, "It's okay, Amma." Hannah's tears finally fell. Daehyun leaned forward, voice low and sincere. "I owe you an apology too, Hannah. I should have listened to you more. I didn't understand how you felt, especially after seeing Sumin bond with Kazaya so quickly. I'm sorry." For the first time in a long time, they understood each other. Then, surprisingly, Grandma stood up, clutching her chest dramatically. I was an inciter, she declared loudly. Everyone blinked. She continued, I caused problems. I judged Keziah. I meddled too much. I was wrong. And I am sorry. And just like that, the most dramatic elder in Korea sat down and started wiping her tears loudly with a handkerchief. Keziah tried not to laugh. Keziah reached out and gently held Hannah's hand. You're not a bad mother, she said softly. You were hurting, and I never wanted to replace you. I just wanted Sumin to feel loved by all of us. Hannah nodded, relief washing over her face. After the apologies, truths, and new understanding, they made a decision. Hannah could visit any time. She could take Sumin on weekends. Birth mother and stepmother would work together, not against each other. No more competition, only love and healing. Hannah had already moved on with her life, calmer, wiser, and happier. But she remained a constant part of Sumin's world. Sometimes she would stop by for tea. Sometimes Keziah visited her. Sometimes they both picked Sumin up from school together, laughing like sisters. The tension that once weighed on everyone's shoulders was finally gone. As Hannah got up to leave, Sumin ran to her, hugging her tightly before running back to Keziah and holding her hand. 2 mothers, 1 child, no bitterness, just family. Daehyun slipped an arm around his wife's waist and whispered, This is how our story was meant to end. And Keziah smiled softly. A home once filled with drama, secrets, and heartbreak was now full of peace, laughter, and second chances.
Hello besties, in this week's story we learned that love is not a competition, it is a responsibility. In today's world, broken families' ego and past hurts often destroy the chance for children to grow in peace. This story reminds us that co-parenting only works when adults choose maturity over bitterness. Besties, Keziah, Hannah, and the unique story shows that a child's happiness must come before pride, jealousy, or past mistakes. 2 mothers can love the same child without becoming enemies. Healing happens when people apologize, listen, and stop fighting old battles. Step-parents and biological parents are not rivals, they are partners in raising a future. Growth is choosing peace even when you are hurt. A blended family is still a real family when love leads the way. Besties, forgiveness builds stronger homes than anger ever will. And co-parenting is not about who is better, it's about working together for the child who loves all of you. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly like, subscribe, and share.